What's up, guys, and welcome back to the BBTFRG channel with me, Martin, aka BallisticBull. It's Friday afternoon here in the UK, it's 4 PM, and that can only mean one thing: it's Warships sneak peek time. And no, that thumbnail isn't clickbait. We do have ATRs this season. So without further ado, let's jump over to the Warship and see what's going on. So, like I say, Season 663, they've called it Extended Patrol. Why have they called it Extended Patrol? Well, there's the message from the Admiral. Hello, we are finally prepared to investigate the yellow buoys that have been sighted over the years. It'll be a long expedition, so we have added some power to the warship. And that is where we get our 8th ER from, is having that extra power to the warship. But what does that actually mean? Well, let's take a deeper dive into this season's tech tree and sneak peeks. But before I do that, I would just like to point out that I am on the dev build. That's why you see, or we may see, an inordinate amount of diamonds and tokens. The dev build, obviously, is the account that's given to us by Supercell for recording the sneak peeks. So yeah, it's not... It's nothing untoward going on. It is a separate account on a separate server lent to us by Supercell. So before I get into this season sneak peeks, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that has been using the code BBTFRG in the shop. I've noticed of recent weeks a bit of an upturn in the code usage, so thank you to all of those of you who are using it, and those of you who aren't, please consider using the code BBTFRG in the shop. It helps support the channel and everything that I'm trying to do. Okay, so let's take a look at this season's warship. Let's start off with the chest reward values, because there is a little bit of a change there. It's probably important to point this out. So the chest reward values for this season, as you can see, the keys have remained the same, although I've just noticed I've got iron and gold around the wrong way in my graphic there. Oh well, I'm not going to go back and edit it now. So wood 15 keys, stone 16 keys, iron will be 18 keys, gold will be 20 keys. It's a little technical hitch for this this video. Diamond 22 and legendary 25, but the changes come in the tokens, which have been reduced ever so slightly, and that's because of the amount of choice nodes that we've been having on the tree of recent times. So wood is now 235,000, stone 260,000, iron 290,000, gold 325,000. I'm still laughing at my mistake there because I know how it happened. Diamond 360,000 and legendary 400,000. Hopefully it won't affect things too much, but it might just mean that we have to budget a little bit more carefully. The biggest thing that it will probably affect, and that you guys will need to think about, or all of us will need to think about, is the starting tokens at the start of the season. We won't have quite as many tokens as we would normally have due to that reduction. Okay, so let's now take a look at our statues for the season. Okay, so statue boosts, you're going to see 150 troop damage, 150 troop health, 100 building damage, and 100 building health, as well as 100 GBE. Boost nodes on this tree this season, statue boost nodes on the tree this season. I'll show you in greater detail when we take a look at the tree, but boost node 1 will give you 10% on troop health, building damage and building health. Boost node 2 gives you 20% on troop damage, troop health and building damage. Boost node 3 will give you 30% on troop damage, troop health, building damage. Boost node 4 with 40%, you see the pattern emerging here now, on troop health, building damage and building health. And finally, boost node 5 is 50% on troop damage, troop health and building damage as well. So we could potentially add 150 or a further 150% to our troop health. So troop health could be 300%. We could add 150% to our building damage. So we have 250 building damage as well. We could have 250 troop damage. We could have 150 building health, but obviously that will mean sacrificing sacrificing other boosts. So yeah, you know the drill with those who figure that out as we go along. No GBE boost this season, but there is some GBE reduction on the negative nodes, which we will take a look at when we dive into that tree. Finally, let's take a quick look at the deck layouts. We will come back to these. So, deck layouts. There is 2 ER, single ramp right hand side. 3 ER opens up the left hand ramp as well. Nice little choke point there. 4 ER, same ramps, one on the right and the full left-hand ramp, and the big cutout in the middle there. See lots of cluster bases going on in that back left-hand corner, I would imagine. 5 ER, the ramp on the right-hand side opens up just a little bit, very similar sort of layout. 6 ER is both ramps, both sides, and a very full deck. Now here's where it gets interesting. So after 6 ER, the 7th and 8th ERs don't flow in a consecutive fashion. They flow in more of a linear fashion, with 1 ER available on the top half and 1 ER available on the bottom half. Again, when we look at the tree, I'll explain this in greater detail. But if you open the top ER first, that would give you 7, and that would be the deck that you'd lay out, or deck layout you'd get. And if you open the bottom ER first, it would give you this layout with your 7th ER. Subsequently, when you open your 8th ER, you get the other layout, and that will then be the one that you have until the end of the season. So pick wisely which ER layout you open first. But like I said, we'll come back and take a closer look at these after we've been through the tree. So the tree itself, we should probably take a look at that. So yeah, here we go. Opening troops are warriors, and Dr. Kavan there right at the beginning as well. So that's something a little bit different. But we've got tanks there available as well. So should be a decent start for the non-IT players. With tanks available at the outset. And there's also that first choice node there with the 10% boosts. Then after that, you've got the smoke, and then going around the bottom path, the green mines, you've got your first proto there, Simo, Micro, or Hot Pot 1, before getting to boom cannons, and up to the troop damage. If you take the short path, then you pick up an extra 2 machine guns or 2 flamethrowers. Those are your only defences, or those are the opening defences, should I say. That will then take you into 3 ERs. Directly after 3 ER, we've got the sniper tower, and that leads to this dead end path with the flare and the building damage. And finally, a Sky Shield damage amp or Grappler 1. And that's at 3 ER, but it is, like I say, on that dead end node. You've got to come down to GBE. And the direct path, obviously, is medkits, medics, and troop health. Or you can come back and pick up Grens or rifles, or the extra node there, which is 1 sniper tower, 1 machine gun, or 1 cannon. And then there's your boost node 2 there in 3 ER, which is, as you can see, damage, troop damage, or building health. Building damage, troop damage, or troop health at 20%. But we didn't pick one of these up. And then obviously that takes you to your 4th ER. Then directly after 4, we've got critters. Critters lead to shock launchers. And then it gets interesting. As you can see, we have to go up from here. And that leads to 3 dead-end paths. So the first node is a negative node. And yes, that's correct. This negative node is going to cost you 5 5 machine guns, 5 flamethrowers, or 2 boom cannons. Now, obviously, I can't select machine guns because I haven't upgraded them and got 5. So the bug that occurred last season, or the glitch that occurred last season that allowed people to have 3 shock launchers, has been ironed out. So we'll take that hit on the boom cannons there. Now from here you can go up to shock mines, and there's your seekers, or you can go left, which is going to cost you 10% troop damage, or 20% building damage, or 30% gunboat energy. But that does open up the lasers. Or you can go right, which is going to cost you 20% troop health, 20% building health, or 20% gunboat energy, which in turn leads to the bombers. They then lead to another negative node, which is 10% off your troop damage or 10% off your building damage. But that does open up the heavy choppers. So if you look at these two here, 20%, 20%, 20%, and then the 10%'s off, or the 20% off the GBE here, it does kind of balance out versus that one negative node. But also up there, you've got the troop boost node as well for the heavy choppers and the bombardiers. But before you rush to heavy choppers, just note that we haven't opened the heavies yet. So it might not be worth just rushing to heavy choppers just yet. But whichever path you take there, if you choose to go that route, they're all dead-end paths, and that in turn leads you to the 5th ER. So after 5th ER, we get our mortars and we get our cannons. So we're starting to beef up our decks after losing 5 machine guns or 5 flamethrowers there. And then it's up to bullet, or the cryos, barrage, and up to mechs. Either way, they lead you up to this dead-end node, and there is your troop boost for 5 ER, which is the 30% troop boost node. That in turn takes you to a multi-node with 2 mortars, 2 cannons, and 2 flamethrowers. That in turn leads to building health, and that is the first building health node on the tree this season there at 5 ER? Yeah, at 5 ER. And then obviously there's another dead end node there with another Sky Shield 1, Microwave 1, or Simo 1 on. Pushing forward, we've got the shocks and the rocket choppers, which all in turn lead up to 6 ER. Directly above 6 ER, we've got the boost node now for the heavies, the rocket choppers, or the Zookas. But obviously you'll notice that the heavies and the Zookas are both here at 6. So you probably won't be opening that straight away. You will be moving on from 6th. Now, before I go opening stuff, I'll show you what I mean. So after 6, we've now got, there is engine room 7 or 8, and that is engine room 7 or 8. Now, depending on which one you pick first or which one you pick second, as I was saying earlier, would result in which deck you have to finish off with. So you kind of need to pick your path wisely. But let's just take the top path, for example. So immediately after 6, we've got the 40% boost node there at 6 ER. And then we can go up to heavies, boom mines, obviously. We got brick there as well, troop health, critter launchers. And then we've got our would be our 7th ER, slightly reduced cost, you'll notice, 150 keys. But the 6 ER is slightly dearer at 120 keys. And like I say, that is the 7 ER deck, the top deck there. Okay, so we come back to the tech tree now. If we take the bottom path, we get Zookas, we get artillery, obviously, and troop damage there. We have this multi-node, which is 1 boom cannon, 2 mortars, or 3 sniper towers, and Sparky is readily available there as well. And then we can open this ER, and obviously we're doing it this way round. This then would be our deck that we would be playing with for the end of the season, with the open ramp on the right-hand side. I might actually have got those wrong way round earlier. But we can come back to take a look at that in a sec. But there is a way here, obviously, right at the end of the tree, that you could go through 7 first. Whichever one of those you take as 7 and push into the end of the tree and then go up or down conversely and come back to the other ER. So there's multiple ways to get to that ER. But going the bottom path, as you can see, Doom Cannon, Shock Blaster or Boom Surprise 3. Then there's the DVD there. Then we've got a bonus node of 2 shock launchers, 2 rocket launchers, or 2 extra critter launchers. There is a reason for that madness. And then obviously the troop health down the bottom there. If we come through the top path, we've got a Shock Blaster 3 again, a Laser Beam 3 this time, and a Floppy Cannon 3. Then we've got our troop damage on the top path. We've got some GVE up there as well. And there's the building health. And then this season, we've got the Mega Scorcher, which is intrinsically a reworked incinerator. So it still does the splash damage, but it's got souped up health. So 39,300. I believe when it's fully boosted, it's with 150 troop health, it's 89. I think it's 89,000 health. But yeah, a more massive version of the Scorcher. The Mega Scorcher has more armor and causes bigger fires. It's also exceedingly large and takes a lot of energy to move. So as you see there, that is, I'm not sure if it actually shows it there, but I believe it's 12, if I remember rightly, it's 12 GBE to launch rather than 8 of the 8 for the normal Scorcher. But that's there as well. Then we get into this negative node, which is -2 boom cannons, -2 critter launchers, or -1 shock launcher. So potentially the 2 critter launchers that you get there, you lose both there. Similarly, the extra 2 of the extra, or 1 of the extra shock launchers you get there, you could end up losing there as well. Or you could lose 2 boom cannons there. Now, bear in mind, you potentially could have lost 2 boom cannons there. You could end up taking all your boom cannons off the deck. Just depends on which way you. I mean, you could take all your 2 boom cannons off, but you would have 5 critter launchers. Now we all know how much chaos 4 critter launchers caused when they first came out, but potentially could have 5. So see which way you decide to go there. Then rocket launchers, and then the final node in the tree is the 50% troop boost. So, or sorry, troop health, building, troop health, troop damage, or building damage boost there in the tree. So that is your tree for season 36. Just going to visit the decks again, which I can do via here. So yeah, that was the deck for the top. If you go the top path, that was the deck. If you go the bottom path, I've got them labelled the wrong way around on here, but yeah. And I think that just about covers everything. We've done the CRVs, we've done the trophies, we've done the deck layouts. I will endeavour to do a boom talk or a tech tree talk on Sunday evening, but that's all the essential information for now. Due to the sneak peek coming out a little bit earlier, as in Friday afternoon, this afternoon, the calculator won't be available till tomorrow by the time I finish putting it all together with all the pictures and that. But just bear with me and I'll have that out for you. Like I say, don't forget to use code BBTFRG in the shop to show your support and to help out the channel. Other than that, best of luck for next season, and I will see you on the seas. All right, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye.